viewers, I've broken up the roadmap this time into a few juicy bits because it's so bloody big. Alright, it's time to talk about the TSW3 part of the roadmap for August 2022. This is the first TSW3 roadmap. So, yesterday was quite a day. Well, yeah, it was. So this is the first roadmap, blah, blah. We've talked about that. As usual, I'm going to read this stuff out to you because it makes it more accessible, and not everybody has time to actually read this stuff and would like to just listen to it. So, off we go. First up, they make no apologies for this being possibly the longest roadmap you're ever going to read, and that's why we've split it into two. Today we'll be covering the routes, locos, and UI within Train Sim World 3, and tomorrow we'll talk about the new feature set, and our roadmap stream will take place tomorrow. Yep, so coming up. And we'll try to cover as much as we can from parts 1 and 2. Also open a Q&A stream, We'll also open a Q&A thread ahead of a Q&A stream next week, so that'll be on the forums, so jump your questions in there, chuck them in the comments on this video as well, because I'll make sure they get through via the Ambassador channel. Okay, and they will ensure to provide accurate up-to-date answers, so let's just get started. What's new? Well, quite a lot, actually. Yesterday, we announced the newest addition to the Train Sim World franchise, Train Sim World 3, chock full of new features, routes, and locos. We can't wait for you to get your hands on it on September the 6th, or if you pre-order the Standard or Deluxe Edition, September the 2nd, 4 days early. Pre-order! I'm going to have some keys to give away. I think I'm allowed to tell you that now. At least I hope I am. What's out there? Anyway, if you haven't already checked out the announcement with Matt and JD, recommend you do that before you read this article. And there's a link. I'll chuck that in the description. It's a long one, so sit down, grab a cuppa. Anyway, as it'll give you a great introduction to the new game. As a result, we've added 3 new routes: Schnellfahrstrecke Kassel Wurzburg, Southeastern High Speed Extended, London to Ashford and Faversham. And before you say it, it looks nothing like the old one, Mo. Little bits do, but mostly doesn't. And Cajon Pass to the roadmap, and they will be released with the launch of the new game. I'm kind of looking forward to Cajon Pass, because I like playing it in, let's just say it, Run 8, and I'm looking forward to some actually good graphics. Sorry, Run 8, your graphics suck. Schnellfahrstrecke Kassel Wurzburg is the German high-speed route we've always wanted to do. At a whopping 186 kilometres or 115 miles, the longest route ever produced in Train Sim World, you'll be pushing the all-new DBBR 401 ICE 1 to 280 kilometres an hour and staying there. Navigating a picturesque landscape of viaducts and tunnels, you'll be combining passenger and freight operations through the Hesse and Bavaria countryside. And there it is, going backwards. The Southeastern High Speed Extended London, Ashford and Faversham is Train Sim World's first route extension and adds length, depth and activity to one of Train Sim World's 2 most popular routes. With 45 miles of extended track, 89 miles or 143 kilometres total, from Dartford to Ashford International and Faversham, with a much extended service pattern, including dedicated timetables for the BR Class 465-9, new signalling including approach control, new overhead lines, track relaying and improved scenery, including a fully explorable Ebbsfleet station that's got 2 levels. And what's more, if you own the existing route within Train Sim World 2, you'll get the updated version for Train Sim World 3 absolutely free with the purchase of any Train Sim World 3 bundle. So you have to buy one of the bundles. Of course, if you buy Standard or Deluxe, it's already got it. It's a bit mute. But if you bought, say, German or US, then you'll get this update for nothing if you already own it in Train Sim World 2. There you go. More details can be found on the facts. The new bundle stuff's kind of complex, but there you go. Cajon Pass is another monster of a route, and you'll need your cojones to run it. Sorry, shouldn't have done that. And one of our favourite American freight experiences, clocking it at 85 miles or 136 kilometres of pure American muscle, you'll be able to operate our first ever BNSF locomotives, the ES44C4 and the SD42, as you tackle stunning mountain ranges and harsh deserts with some of the steepest inclines seen within Train Sim World. That's on the main line, because of course the Rosalini is actually steeper than what's on Cajon Pass. Not much, but it is. Main line. You can find out more about them in yesterday's announcement. Yep, well, we know all that. That's okay, and here's the art for the BNSF route, otherwise known as the pumpkin. Cool. I will be doing some competitions later. One of them's going to be about pumpkins. As well as this, Spirit of Steam Liverpool Lime Street crew will be receiving all of Train Sim World 3's new features. And if you own the existing route within Train Sim World 2, you'll get the updated version for Train Sim World 3 absolutely free with the purchase of any Train Sim World 3 bundle. So if you get the standard edition UK, US, or German packs, none of those have Spirit of Steam, but if you already own it, they will have it. Cool bananas. And we also have some positive news for you about the add-ons manager, which you can find below. All content which we plan to release for both Train Sim World 2 and Train Sim World 3 is now labelled as such within the roadmap. So there is a little bit of continuance for Train Sim World 2. You're not going to be able to buy it anymore, but it's still getting some updates. So it's going to get some love. Now, they do warn us that the Train Sim World 3 will get updated first, then it'll come to 2. So if you're going to stay behind on 2, because you feel it a bit gypped, you're going to have to wait a little while. You might want to move up the road. Anyway, a few things have been moved, such as the PS4, PS5 profile transfer. They're not doing that anymore. And Dovetail Live rewards. We're not currently investigating the former, and the latter is now encompassed within the Preservation Crew section of the roadmap. Did a different video on the Preservation Crew. Go look at it. We're sure you have a lot of questions about Train Sim World 3, and whilst we'll try to cover as much ground as we can with these articles and coming live streams, we also recommend checking out the facts. I will stick the link in the description. On our knowledge base is that a lot of information covered within it around package options, pricing, profile transfer, and much more. We have a live stream planned for next week to answer your questions, and you can find the link below to post them. I will put that into the description too. So, Train Sim World 3 route timetables. We asked the team working on these routes for a little insight into the timetables you can expect when you're playing the predominantly passenger routes on Train Sim World 3. Southeastern High-Speed Extension. First up, James, our product assistant, and Joe, our associate designer with the Southeastern High-Speed Extension. For the extended Southeastern high-speed route, there was a lot we wanted to do in the timetable, not only cover the basics of adding services to the new Ashford and Dartford sections, but also bring life to the existing route in a much more exciting way. The original timetable was based on reference gathered in 2020, which in hindsight resulted in a rather bare-bones atmosphere, with many services having given way to the pressures of the pandemic. Hourly javelins to Faversham, no peak time variety, etc. On top of that, there were plenty of areas which were missing AI elements that bring stations to life. All has changed for Southeastern High Speed in Train Sim World 3, using reference gathered from the 2019 working timetable featuring pre-pandemic service levels. An exponential increase in traffic is now present on the route, with much richer variety and of course expanding to reach the new endpoints on the route. So this shot is from the old timetable and it shows Strood at 7 a.m. versus the same time of day at Strood in the new timetable. So instead of having one train there, we've got 3, which is kind of cool. And they're different ones, which is also kind of cool. The full Class 395 diagrams have been accurately represented using all of the units correctly throughout the day, including coupling and uncoupling procedures, as well as peak time oddities such as ECS moves, whatever they are, bloody acronyms, and fast services avoiding stations. St. Pancras comes to life in the rush hour. Did I say pancreas? I think I did. Whoops. With a mere 3 platforms supporting up to 8 departures an hour, there is certainly a lot more going on now. Ashford Depot is also included, interior and all, as are the services which bring 395s in and out of the depot. Around Ashford, you will all see plenty of mainline II from Tunbridge to Maidstone and the Kent coast. Ashford Depot, I presume. That one says 395014 leads a 12 cart set from Ashford Depot ahead of the evening rush on High Speed 1. Meanwhile, at London, nose-to-nose trainbow action is taking place as services divide, ready to run the commuters home on Britain's fastest domestic train. Do you know, I've hardly ever actually seen the trainbow in the game. I think I've driven it once, and maybe I've seen it 2 or 3 times, but, you know, it's not often. It'd be cool if we saw it more. The classic lines are also fully fleshed out with more trains between Rochester and Faversham, including a Peak Expresses to Cannon Street, services which terminated in Gillingham now run to Dover, and rush hour splitting and joining of Class 375s at Faversham also feature. You can expect to see Sheerness Branch AI at Sittingbourne as well as Medway Valley Line AI at Strood, so you can't drive them. They're AI services that run off to portals. North Kent has been transformed with the addition of Dartford, 4 trains per hour of Gravesend Platform 0 to Dartford and vice versa. With additional services that also extend to Strood in the rush hour, Dartford also sees AI services which terminate from London. Pretty cool. In this picture, we've got 465931 departing Dartford on service 1N36 to Gravesend, where after a few minutes it will turn tail and return on 1D42 back to Charing Cross. With the inclusion of freight stock, Who Junction sees a lot more action, mixing in neatly between the busy passenger timetable. Aggregate engineering and light engine moves will be available, and yes, shunting as well. Yay, shunting. So that's what it used to look like, and only if you had another route, which was East Coast Way. If you didn't have that, it was empty completely. And this is what it looks like now out of the box. So all this is included in the new route, which is kind of cool. There's lots of stuff. I see a shed. And I see a javelin hiding in with the sheds. Probably just, making friends. What would a timetable be these days without a rail tour or two as well? Another time we'll go into how these layers and other seasonal services... Oh, shut up. And other seasonal services work on this route. But for now, a little teaser. Why is it the Google thing wakes up sometimes when you haven't asked it a bloody question? But anyway... Train Sim World 3. The lighting does look grand, doesn't it? Note, everything described above is representative of Generation 9/PC timetable. Generation 8 timetables are still under evaluation as to the impact on performance. Snell Fast Trek Castle Wurzburg. Next time we'll move on to Lucas, our senior technical producer, and Joe, our associate designer, discussing Castle Wurzburg. The Castle timetable, be prepared for the Castle run. Star Wars joke. The Castle timetable service mode has been a team effort, mixing the expertise of both Lucas and Joe. We split the work up, what we do best, with Joe handling most of the passenger services and all the AI he loves to implement, and Lucas focusing on the freight, the dream team. So this is an example of the new UI for selecting timetables too. It's a little bit different. More accessible, nice and bold, and good contrast. It can be excellent for the lower sighted people. For this route, we had an actual German freight timetable for the first time, so we really wanted to fully implement it. This presented more than a few challenges. Since freight on this route runs at night between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., we faced a big problem. Until now, timetables have been restricted to 24 hours and services could not cross midnight. This would have eliminated half the services and all of the fun. So with the help of our amazing engineering team, we spent some considerable time making this possible so that in the future, we can also make that last 11 p.m. service that ends on the next day. Now the freight is fully integrated with all the planned overtaking, the parcel intercity that runs on the route at night, and up to 4 freight trains following in each other down the route. That's not my bad grammar, that's theirs. It also features some BR101 services, which let you take control of the loco to full speed for over an hour on the night jet services, which interweave with the freight at night, forcing a lot of freight trains to wait in a siding for them to pass. We've done our best to fill this timetable up to a real working day and hope everyone enjoys the bustling action in Wurzburg, Fulda and Castle Wilhelm, whatever it is, be it at night or during the day. The trains. The choice of trains and routes in Train Sim World 3 brought with them new challenges for the team to meet. Here are some of the unique features, which we hope you'll enjoy. The team have grappled with these when it's come to train setup. The BNSF ES44C4 locomotive looks at first glance like any other wide comfort cab US heavy freight loco, but looks can be deceiving. It has a little unique trick up its sleeve. Normally the locomotive spreads its weight distribution across all 6 axles. However, if wheel slip systems on the train detect any reduction in grip, they can take the weight off the centre axle, meaning that the full weight of the locomotive is now on the outer 4 axles on each truck, massively increasing the amount of grip they have. You can see this in action with some cylinders on the sides of the trucks. Both the animation and the physical change to adhesion are simulated in Train Sim World 3. Not going to give you any details, but I love this locomotive. I mean, mostly I'm a beta tester anyway. It's bloody grouse. Moving on to the ice trains, a new feature for Train Sim World 3 is the high-speed braking system called eddy brakes. These are now implemented on the ice trains and allow them to stop much more quickly, particularly in emergency conditions. When the Ice 3 first made its appearance in Train Sim World 2, players requested that an additional screen that shows the driver what's happening with the brake systems on the train be added. There's a lot of information, and it's helpful to the driver to really know what's happening along the length of the train at any given moment. So the team have worked hard to get that implemented for Train Sim World 3. G'day, Eddie. Lastly, the passenger information system has seen some big improvements to the amount and types of data that it can show, accommodating the more detailed on-train screens on the ICE, but also adding other messages, car identifiers and so forth to other trains such as that on the Class 395 Javelin. User interface and menu screens. With Train Sim World 3, we've been given the opportunity to rewrite the world rulebook. I'm going to come back to this. Do a different video.